Hello beautiful, welcome back to Nat's Beautiful Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my April wrap up. And as everyone else in the whole world right now, I also need a hair cut and color. But we're just gonna ignore it. Also, it is like a swamp outside. It is hot, it is humid, and it is raining. So my hair has frizzed up and has just done whatever it's doing now. I've also been very sick the past couple weeks, so I'm super pale. Even more pale than usual, and yeah. Sorry if my voice sounds funny too. It might not sound so funny right now, but anyway, I'm doing the best I can, and I thought I would come up. Even through all of this stuff, I've been getting some good reads in, and I've actually read a lot of good things this past month. So I just wanted to quickly talk to you about them. I think because there are so many books, I'm going to do as quickly as I can, just talk to you about them, tell you if I like them or not. And then I may later do a more in-depth talk about certain ones. If you think that's a good idea, just let me know. Yeah, if you are new to this channel, hello, my name is Natasha. I do videos on mostly books, but also bullet journaling and beauty. And now I'm going to get into the books. The first one, there are a mixture of classics, adult, YA, and all kinds of stuff in here. And when I do a lot of really heavy books, I do something called the palette cleanse, and that's where I just grab a simple, fluffy, easy book to read. And the one that I picked for the first weekend of May was Essential Maps for the Lost by Deb Coletti. This is about a gal who is staying with her aunt and uncle for the summer while she attends a trade school there. She swims every morning in the lake because she was on the swim team, and it's just something she's always done. And one morning she bumps into a body. She is suffering from depression, and so she becomes obsessed with the life of the woman who she bumped into and also her family. And she has a son, and she kind of arranges for herself to meet him accidentally, and they become friends, and then it's about that. Not quite as fluffy as I normally would pick for a kind of palette cleanse read, but still very good, and it's Deb Coletti. I've found that I really enjoy her books. So there's that. I hope I'm not too bright. I don't know. I feel very washed out anyway, so whatever. The next is The Wizard of Oz by Frank Baum. This is actually The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, so the first book in the Wizard of Oz series, which is actually like 15 books long. And I really enjoyed this one. This one is illustrated and also has the plates in it because it's the Barnes & Noble special edition, but it also has the illustrations and stuff. I am hooked, and I want all of these books. To find them illustrated, it's like $2,000 or $4 or $5 a piece that you can find piecemeal here and there. So I'm probably gonna wind up getting just the non-illustrated version to be able to read them, and then my favorite ones, I think that I will just kind of do piecemeal pick and choosing of which ones I will buy. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. If you read this, please keep in mind that the movie is a totally different thing. The movie was wonderful, is really great, but it's made for visual effect. This is different, and a lot of things are different because it's the book. And yeah, just keep that in mind when you pick that up. But I really, really enjoyed it, and I want them all. And I'm shelving as I can. I know my bookshelves look a mess. My plants need to be watered, but there's a lot of books sitting here that have been removed. Then we have Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. This book is so near and dear to my heart. It is told from the horse's perspective, and I love it so much. If you don't know, I was raised in a stable. I'm kidding, I lived in a house. But my father was a horse trainer. We had a boarding stable. I always had horses, was always at the barn. So I was pretty much raised in a barn. And whereas like other people walked their dogs on leashes, I had my Appaloosa, Nita, on a horse lead and was just walking around with her, and that's just what I did. But like I said, this is from the horse's perspective, and he's learning all kinds of wonderful things. He's learning about good men, bad men, why some horses who are, can be good if they're treated well, why they are bad when they're not. And it's very heartwarming, and I love this so much that it was like really missing the horses. All right, then we moved into our what did I have? The spring rereadathon that I hosted over on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, be sure to do that. It's Quirky Chick 7. The Chick is with just one C, and it's linked down below as well. But I have bookish posts on there, at least 1 or 2 a day. It's pictures, but also there's usually a little blog or something below it, so be sure you're checking that out. And I do video or photo challenges that other people challenge, and I kind of try to keep up with them, so keep that up. Anyway, I did a spring rereadathon where we all reread books together, and the books that I reread for the spring rereadathon were, there's like a random bookmark in here, Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is one of my favorite books of all time, and there are so many things in it that I totally forgot about. So I'm really happy that I reread it, and I'm looking for the UK hardcover, but I can only find it for like $160, and I don't want to pay that. So I'm gonna keep looking and all of that, but I absolutely just adore the story. It is a loosely based Beauty and the Beast retelling, but not. So there is a wood surrounding this village, or all these villages, and the wood is basically evil. And then there's a lord who lives up in the tower who is also a wizard, and his job is to keep the citizens safe and keep the wood back. And every 10 years he takes a girl from the villages, and she comes and lives in the tower with him, and after 10 years he lets her go, and she usually doesn't stay. She usually just leaves, and nobody knows why. So this is about Agnieszka, who is a girl in the hood, a girl in the village who gets taken, and it's her story, and also like her learning about why that's done, and all of this. So it's a very good story, very fairy tale-esque, can be very dark. Really loved it. The other 2 books I read for the reread were Catching Fire and Mockingjay. Yeah, I really enjoyed them, and I have so many thoughts, because I love the movies, but the movies are their own thing, and there's just so much missing from the movies. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. Just gonna sip my tea. The next book I read was, of course, Songbirds Instincts. Oh, by the way, I had already reread The Hunger Games a while ago, so that's why I went ahead and just reread those 2. The Ballad of Songbirds Instincts. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4.5 stars. I know people either love it or poo-poo in it, but I really, like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I at times was rooting for Snow, but at other times I was like, I get it, because you can see the fact of the matter is that he's actually kind of weak. He's like, I am too fancy a person. I can't handle living this way. I'm so used to living that way. And also this is during a time when even the capital wasn't well to the point of where it is during the Hunger Games that we're used to. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and please don't go into it thinking it's the Hunger Games. It's not, and it doesn't solely focus only on the Hunger Games. Remember, it is Snow's story, and you're getting kind of that snapshot into the capital, and then why they do the Hunger Games and all of those things. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that's just me and my thoughts. I'm going to pick this book up next. So this is The 13th Tale by Diane Satterfield. This is kind of similar to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where you have a Hollywood starlet telling a journalist her story. This one you have it's hard for me to figure out what time it is, but I'm thinking it's like the 40s and 50s. You have a girl who, she and her father own an antique bookstore and all of that. And they do rare book sales and things. And she gets a letter one day from this famous author, and she asks her, she'd read something that she'd written and was like, I'd like for you to tell my story. And so it's basically this girl going to this lady's house and listening to her story, and I could not put it down. It is so incredibly good. It was 5 stars for me, and I was afraid to go into it because I was like, I hope this isn't boring. It was amazing, and you will love it if you have a soul. The next book, once again, I am trash for the Vanderbilts, so I got The Well-Behaved Woman by Therese Ann Fowler, and this is a novelization of real events and people. So I always go into these with a grain of salt, but I do kind of handle, like, if it's something that's really well done, I will let it kind of count towards my nonfiction goals for the year because it makes me look things up. So as I was reading this, and it follows Alva Vanderbilt, the most, and you kind of get the whole like Vanderbilt clan in New York. And so with that in mind, it made me look things up. It made me look up people. There were people that I knew existed, but I was just kind of looking to see what's real, what's made up, and it was just so good. And I really need to pick up Z, which is the same author's book on Zelda Fitzgerald, so F. Scott Fitzgerald's wife, because the writing is beautiful. Her writing is just so good. And yeah, I enjoyed this so much, and it was beautiful. The next book I don't have with me. It is Fly Girls by Keith O'Brien. It is the Girls Night Out Book Club Book of the Month, and it is about women who made aviation history. They want it to be flying and all of that, just like anyone else. They just wanted to do what they wanted to do, and it was hard for them just because they were women. And I will warn you, the book is really good. It's written really well. I will warn you, there are some bad, deadly, fiery crashes in there with men and women. So just be warned. But I really enjoyed this, and I learned a lot. I learned more about Amelia Earhart. I learned about this awesome woman who, like, I wish we all knew about, called Louise Thaden. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love learning things, and I just really love it, especially when it's women's kind of things, because I am one, and I know what it's like. And so when these women were fighting just for the right to be like everyone else, it's really awesome, and they broke a lot of records, so really cool. All right, the next book, again, trash for the Vanderbilts, The Last Castle by Denise Kiernan. This is a nonfiction, and I love Edith Vanderbilt. Like, last year about this time, I was at Biltmore House, which is what George Vanderbilt built. It's in Asheville, North Carolina, and it's the largest home, period, but definitely the largest privately owned home in the country. And it's gorgeous, and it is the story about George and Edith, and George building the Biltmore House, and then how the Biltmore House and estate became such a part of the community, and how Edith became a part of the community. And like I said, when I was down there last year, I was learning a lot about Edith, which was George's wife, and I fell in love with her. Like, she's like a kindred spirit to me, and so I really wanted a book that was about her, and there wasn't one. So I was just like, well, fine, I'll pick this up. It's about the Biltmore House. She's got to be in it. There is so much Edith in here that I absolutely loved this book so much. And also, I just learned about a lot of new authors, like authors that, one thing I didn't realize is Edith Wharton, the classics author, was actually a friend of Edith's family, and she spent a lot of time at Biltmore. A lot of authors came and went. And I will say this is really cool. When you go into the Biltmore house, when you go into their library, a lot of their library, all the books look the same. They all have this burgundy red binding. So like this would all be burgundy red. And you're like, how did he find books like this? Oh no, he would order books without the binding. So just, he'd order just this part of the book. And he had a binder that he would have bind all his books exactly the same so that they would all match in his library. And I was just like, that's amazing. So I really love that book. I gave it 5 stars. The writing at the very beginning is very choppy, very hyphenated. And then it starts to flow a little bit more and starts to read a little bit more like a novel, even though she is still in that nonfiction. Okay, so I am currently reading Persuasion by Jane Austen. This is not all of Persuasion. This is 7 novels by Jane Austen, and one of those books in here is Persuasion. So I'm currently reading that. I'm sure I'll finish it before the end of the month. It is currently, what is this, the 29th? So I'm sure I'll finish it. And then another one that I have picked back up, it is a short story collection. And so what I normally do is I'll read a short story here and there, put it down, pick it up. And last night I was like, I have had enough of the Gilded Age, of all of these really, because Persuasion is a really good book and I'm really enjoying it, but I mean, it's a real classic with really lofty language and can be like difficult sometimes to read when you're trying to relax. So I picked up How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin again and read about 3 or 4 of the short stories there. I plan on continuing to do that because her writing is just so fluid. It's so good. And some of the ideas, there was one that I read last night called The Red Dirt Witch, I think. Hang on, let me look. The Red Dirt Witch, which was really good and interesting concepts. And then there was one called, I'm gonna butcher this, Alchemista, whatever. It was takes place in like Milan or something, I don't know, about like a chef, and some man shows up one night, gives her a bunch of ingredients and a recipe, and is like, you have to follow them exactly. And then she does, and turns out like when he eats what she made, which is like awful, he starts to become younger right before her very eyes, and then he leaves her a bunch of other weird ingredients. He's like, no recipe, just do what you want. And then she did an amazing job with it, and he was like, you know, I'm of the old way, like he's a wizard, turns out, and he's like from way back in the day, and he's like, the old ways don't work anymore. I want to be your apprentice. I want to learn, because she's a chef and she just creates with ingredients and stuff, and she just had a knack for it, and I would like to see that expanded. I would like to see a little bit more of that, but because it ended off, because it is a short story of them leaving, her agreeing to do that and then leaving. So I just spoiled that whole story for you, but it's really good. But yeah, anyway, that is it. I'm gonna stop talking now. It's been almost 20 minutes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon, and hopefully I will feel and look a lot better. Have a great day, gorgeous.